Hello, everybody, and welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the City Council of the City of Pearsall. It is now 6:01. We're officially open. Madam Secretary, may we have a roll call?
Ben Fusco,
Here.
Jane Leal, Rachel Garza, Sonia Hernandez. Here. Tiffany Talamantes. Here. Ramiro Trevino.
Here.
Brenda Trevino. Aurora Garza. Here.
Okay, with that, we do have a quorum. With that, we'll have our invocation to play. Y'all can join me. Dear God, Lord, thank you for another day. Father, I pray that you guide us in the work of the city. Father, I pray your hand be upon our workers if they're out in the field, protect our law enforcement. Lord, we ask your hand be upon our children in schools and in our public and private schools. Father, watch over the city. Lord, we pray for our county, our state, and our nation. Father, guide us in all the things we think, say, and do in Jesus Christ, your son, holy and precious name. Amen. Funny.
By allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, that be seated. Do we have any citizens to be heard?
We do not, Mayor.
We do not?
No, sir.
Okay, with that, mayor's message, I just want to state, last month I was out. I want to give a shout out to Mayor Pro Tem running the meeting. I heard him broke all the records that we were in and out in a short period of time, so it's had a good benchmark. But anyway, appreciate him doing that. Y'all got a lot of stuff done last month. But with that, we're going to go on to our presentations. First up, it's going to be our police chief, Chief Flores. You got the floor.
I have the reports for the month of January 2026. 63 offenses, 48 non-different offenses, 33 arrests, 159 incident reports, 133 citations, 444 warnings, 46 security checks, a total of 432 false patrol. CID did permit 11 new cases were submitted to CID. We have 9 possessions of controlled substance cases pending. As of right now, they're ready for submission. We have 6. For our narcotics report, there were 27 grams of methamphetamine seized, 22.85 grams of marijuana, 435 grams THC, and 66 grams of psilocybin, for mushroom. Animal control, she had 47. Or then rephrase it, we do have 2 animal control officers. So they impounded 47 animals, 43 dogs and 4 pigs. They adopted out 1 dog and transferred out 4 of those dogs during the month. They returned the owner with 2 dogs. I did speak with her briefly earlier, and she said that they're already freeze stacked for this couple for the month of February. They're already at 60. They're at the point where they're using some of the livestock kennels. That's where we're at with it.
She can speak this, yes, so they are picking up a substantial amount of dogs and animals, so again, there is progress. I mean, it's sure that we are still interested in doing the spay and neuter program, but they've done, in my opinion, I'm proposing a good job in the police department. Trying to get the numbers down for the report can be done, but kudos to the chief and to the.
Are we still putting them out there for families that want to adopt or things like that?
She's taking it upon herself to transfer out to different rescues and take them. Right now, we weren't able to fit it in this past week. And this week. But we will be meeting with Jackson's Brush Puppy here soon and discussing this. On another note, brief, or just real quick. It's not on the agenda and there's no need for any discussion, but I did learn. Last week. That the sheriff's office taking part in a program called 287 Jump. With the Department of Homeland Security. With ICE to assist ICE. I have looked into and it can assist with monetary needs as far as to pay officers and to purchase equipment and things like that. And here in the future, if there's any interest in the council, and we don't consider it. I haven't spoken with the sheriff directly as far as how it's playing out for them, but I know from what I've been told, the amounts are pretty substantial. Federal reimbursement, or would reimburse.
Chief, update us on our staffing. Are we full? Where are we right now? I know we've got.
Yeah, we're actually down 2 officers. We're gonna be hiring one from the academy here this coming month, March. And we just learned recently that we have 1 officer current who's gonna be moving out of states. We're gonna be losing 1 more.
So we're down 2, we're going to go for you, so we'll be down 2. All right, Chief, thank you. Any questions, council? Thank you, Chief. All right, our utility director, Hector, you have the floor.
Good evening, council, mayor, the media. Before you should have my monthly report, I'm not gonna dwell on it too much, it's pretty normal, it's low, everything's low due to the weather change, so it's not too much to talk about, but what I do want to go over is some of the public works projects that we have out there as far as infrastructure. So the M5 is currently not here, but there should be coming soon to jump back on the sewer and water infrastructure. But their water installation is at 30%, and their sanitary sewer installation is at 70%. So in overall percentages, they're about halfway done with the project. With the completion, they verified that it should be late December, early January, and it should be done with the whole kit and caboodle. So, and EasyBill called in this morning to give me their numbers. They're at a 90% completion.
EasyBill is a sidewalk.
Yeah, the side of the project. So they'll be done with concrete work by this Friday. And the only thing left to do is gonna be the sod, which will be another sister company of theirs coming in there, planting more grass everywhere. And then the only thing left after that is the portion where M5 has to redo the road, which is right here off of from Manise to Fitch Road. And then that'd be the only thing last on the docket there. So they're moving along pretty good. So, and that's all I got for as far as the investment.
We'll get into that in a minute, but on the other thing was, you do have 3 water wells currently running, there is a 4th one, they're still working, we should have bids out, I think next month for another water well, that should be the one we're working on behind the police department. So I believe the letter said next month they should have bids out, so that'll be our 4th water well. The water well that we're having problems with is the Cherry plant. So you guys are aware that that's been a source of, it's been an issue for some months now. But anyway, that's where we are on as far as utilities. Then Hector is working on some problem projects at the wastewater treatment plant that are causing issues for some residents, particularly the area that's closest to the wastewater treatment plant. So we're aware of the situation and we know what we need to, we're working on a solution. We're trying to get the contractors out to see who can help us. But we are treating this as like, we gotta get it done. It's just work that we know we have to do, and it's not really cheap like anything else. We're talking, substantial amount of money to get some of these repairs done And so right now they're making do with what they have, but they have been a problem for months now, trying to get a contractor to come out. We may need to do a design, build something. I don't know what the overall solution's gonna be just yet, but just want to make sure we got it aware that Hector and the staff are aware of some of these issues.
Council, do you have any questions for our utility director? All right, Hector, thank you very much. Appreciate the job you and your staff are doing. Just so that we know, Mayor Pro Tem, we all respond to.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, moving up, financial report.
Christine is on. Christine, do you want to speak to this and her? Is she here?
Christine, are you on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
sure can. You want to
Okay,
give the,
perfect. Sorry. Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to apologize. I don't have the financial report prepared for this last month simply because the statement isn't available until the 31st of January. And with the new timing of having to get the agenda items out, I fell into a situation where I didn't have time to reconcile the account. And really the best practice is to ensure that your accounts reconcile prior to submitting them to council. And so I looked back to be sure that I wasn't going against the charter by not having it available to you. And I did want to quickly discuss or find what your preference would be, whether or not these are presented on a quarterly basis or on a monthly basis, simply because the PFIA requires it quarterly. And really, if there's no significant changes month to month, I don't know if it's a benefit to council, but I did want to get council's input to see what their preference would be. And I will follow up in March and cover anything that's been missed.
no, I certainly prefer monthly, but yeah,
Okay?
what I'd like to see.
Christine, I did want to make sure the council was aware. I think you should see a draft of your audit. I know that Christine doesn't have the audit should be, the draft should be sent to you this month. I don't have a date yet. I know that Christine's working on that. But we should
Well, I'm so sorry. Yes, sir. I spoke with the auditors this afternoon. They anticipated having it to us by Monday, but it looks like it's going to be closer to the end of next week. But we will have it to council for them to have at least 2 weeks to review it prior to the council meeting.
So in that regard, I want to give a big thank you to Fred and staff, the financial department. You know, as you guys know, we've had trouble with audits and then we got better and we continue to get better. So having it ready by the first part of by the middle of the first quarters is what we need to do, but just anyway, well done. So thank you guys for that. Thank you.
So if I could quickly just, I know Mayor, you prefer it on a monthly basis, but just so you are aware, if I provide it on a monthly basis, there is a slim chance that the account won't be fully reconciled until the following month. That doesn't mean that the revenues and expenses will be drastically different, but there may be a slight difference is all.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And
no
I'm
problem.
sure you'll explain that for us.
Yes, sir, and I'll make sure that I get it to you in the March meeting, and I'll have January and February together during that time frame.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
All right, anything else for our finance director? Nothing. All right, thank you, Christine.
Yes, sir. You have a good evening.
You too. All right, next up, community development report, just city manager, Yolanda. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Some of the department highlights is during the January 26th. Planning, Development, and Community Services continue to support city operations through public service, delivery, and regulatory oversight. The library served as a central community resource, providing circulation services, computer and Wi-Fi access, youth and senior programs, and meeting space for community organizations. Our permit and development services process construction and land use permits in support of ongoing residential and commercial activity. Code enforcement conducted inspections and responded to complaints and worked with property owners to promote compliance and maintain our neighborhood standards. Parks and Facilities continues to make repairs to our facilities. And most recently, we did window replacement to the sports complex press box. We've had several incidents where vandalism, they're going in through breaking the windows, and so we've replaced those to make them more secure. Some of the major projects is community development, is continuing to work with Whataburger. As you know, we had the project groundbreaking. Last week, staff held ongoing development meetings with the Frio Regional Hospital Expansion Project with the contractors to discuss the progress. And we held a pre-construction meeting with the Frio County Jail Annex Project. All permits have been issued for that, and they held their ground breaking this morning. We also participated in the TxDOT Connectivity Sidewalks Project. Meeting with them, that is to get the TxDOT sidewalks grant that was awarded to us, get that going and start the implementation and administration of that grant. We also are currently on monthly planning meetings with the National Fitness Campaign. That is the Crocs Fitness grant that we received. That is ongoing. We meet on a monthly basis. And finally, we Councilman Member Trevino and I attended the meeting for the Texas Parks and Wildlife Commission, where they awarded us they made the final awarding of the the Texas Department of Wildlife. They've awarded us the grant. Too many grants in here. But we're grateful for that, and thank you to Councilman Trevino, who did an outstanding job representing Pearsall in front of the commission. Finally,
750.
750, and we matched the other so. And finally, financial impact. The library collected $295,044 in revenue, and development permit fees collected for the month of January was $13,035. Any questions on that? And finally, if I may, I would like to address the council on a personal level. So, as many of you have heard, try to get through this without getting emotional. As many of you have heard, and after careful consideration, I've decided to pursue a new professional opportunity, and I am officially resigning effective February 20th. I wanted to thank the City Council for their confidence in me and for allowing me to contribute to the important work of serving the residents of Pearsall. It's been an honor to work alongside a team so dedicated to progress, transparency, and community improvement. I'm extremely proud of the projects that we have completed and the tremendous growth that the City of Pearsall has experienced. I am excited to see the future funded projects come to life, and I know the city will continue to thrive. So as I prepare for the transition, I remain hopeful for the city's bright future and continued success. None of these accomplishments would have been possible without the unwavering support of council, city staff, my mentor and leader, Mr. Reyes, and partnership with our communities and businesses. To my coworkers and staff, thank you for your support, collaboration, and trust. Everything we accomplished, large and small, was possible because of our team. I am proud of the work we've done together and the positive momentum we built for the city. I've accepted the position of City Administrator for the City of Dilley, and I look forward to continuing a strong working relationship with our sister city, Pearsall. I am committed to fostering cooperation and partnership between our communities and as we work towards our shared goals. Pearsall will always be special in my heart, and I leave with immense gratitude for the opportunities and experience I am blessed to have had here. I am deeply grateful for the opportunity to serve City Council, staff, and community of Pearsall. You all will be missed. Thank you all so much.
I'd like to just say a few words. Yolanda, I haven't got a chance to congratulate you on this advancement, and the council recognized the need to get some redundancy and provide Fred with some additional help. So he looked and found a great addition to the team. And Yolanda, you came in and took on a tough task. You've got our permitting process, you know, there's a lot of arrows been shot at that department, but you provided exactly what we needed. You've done a great job, and this grant stuff that you have done has really kind of helped out tremendously in a lot of things, so God bless you, and I trust, you know, you're close by, so we'll still keep a good relationship, and thank you for what you've done, and you've got our full support of going down there, and I know you'll do a great job, so thank you for your commitment. Y'all, she's a very hardworking, very dedicated individual, so we trust you'll do well. Council, thank you for all that you've done to help her as well.
Mayor, she would have been here almost 3 years in August, and she's done a lot in 2.5 years she's been here. Some people, even staff, you know, they may have not agreed with certain things that, you know, happen, you know, but at the end of the day, to me, I can tell you, she's probably one of the hardest workers we've had, city, personally. She's just a true professional, she really is. I mean, whether you disagree or disagree with certain positions of the city, or even, you know, things that she may have said or done, or whatever, it's perceived by certain people, whatever. But where you guys don't know this, but we had 2 interviews with her. My interview with her, second interview with her was in Tilden, Texas. We in bed at a restaurant, and that was my second interview with Miss Lynn, and that was, I guess the decision was made at that time to give her, you know, an opportunity, and again, we're fortunate. Again, thank you for taking the time and considering, you know, all the work that you've done here at Pearsall. I appreciate it. And other staff is appreciative. We've all, hopefully everybody can say we've all learned a lot. I mean, not just, you know, from us to you, or it's vice versa. So it's in both ways. We've all kind of learned, and I appreciate all of it, and the processes, things that you've made better. And so we look forward to working with you. I do, and keeping the friendship. And now a colleague, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see, but it's
Calling by your first name.
take the leap of faith to be the city administrator. So sometimes it's good to be second, but it's anyway, but no, we appreciate all of it.
If you give me Miss Moran, I truly do appreciate what you've done for the city of Pearland. I know that you and I have worked a lot together in these developments, and this, especially within our master plan for the sports complex. We truly appreciate what you've done. And we wish you all the best in your future and what you have. Of course, you'll be up the street, so it's still be good to bother you. But again, thank you for everything you did for this.
Thank you, Councilman. It was a pleasure working with each and every one of you. I hope your nose, you'll make it very easy for you wanted to take it from us. Thank you.
Where you look better and grade better.
Yeah.
That's a lot, Brad. Thank you.
And anytime you wanna come home.
Yes.
Okay, very good. All right, move on to municipal court reports.
Judges out, can we just pass on that one?
Yeah, we're gonna pass on that. Chief report 20 done.
About the municipal article back. You're here. Sorry. Good evening, everyone. We are, we started the year busy. We're gonna continue, I'm starting to plan some of the events, trying to start early. So I still got all that. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
On, Richard, I mean, I want to know as far as, like, if you've been reaching out to any of our bronze, silver, gold, you know, members, you know, for anything that, you know, that they can bring for the city, you know, that we can use them for. I mean, I know they do, you know, say that they're willing to help out with any kind of, you know, activities that we have in the city as far as, you know, 4th of July, barbecue, Hispanic, you know, whatever we have going on. You know, you get that feedback stuff from these members, and you know, I just want to know you know, you reached out to them and if you've been reaching out and, you know, what's the comeback on that, you know?
With my events, if it's not my event, I mean, I don't reach out. I mean, that's something that I asked them. They are getting, they're getting invoices for this new one. That's what I've been working on for this new year. And I have spoken to some, and I have told them how things, there are different things that we're gonna do a different way. But I have met with every single one of the hotels. I do that, and I have asked them, how is it that I can help you? I have a list of all the hotels that I visited, every hotel, and there are some that do not want engagement. And I have that list of the ones who do not want any engagement.
But how about the other,
As far as some of the, yes.
other, like we have Republic here and we have other, you know, people that do have, that are.
Yes, and they will be contacted with all these. That's why I started with these events already, so that I can get all that lined up. So yes, I am working on that. That's exactly what I've been working on. Of course, trying to get that situated and getting a date, you know, to where I can contract these events that we're gonna have required money. So that's where I'm at, and I know I've had several meetings with Mr. Reyes, and we're gonna try to work on that, but I can't get anything contracted if I don't have the funds that it takes to get these people contracted. Once I have everything set, then I can approach these companies to say, this is what I'm having. How would you like to engage? Like, yes. Mhm.
Council, do you have any questions for Ms. Juanita? All right, thank you, Juanita. All right, moving on, we have a presentation. I believe we have, Mr. Jimmy, are you on the phone? Are you on the Zoom? Jimmy Ernest?
Yes, sir, I am.
Mayor, can I speak just a little bit?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Mayor, part of what we're doing here, I don't know if y'all, how much attention the council has paid for this, but aside from the streetlight project that we did a year or two ago, we've added streetlights to Pearsall or to our, and so the one that helped, quite frankly, Hector, his staff, Joe. So what they did is we went around town, and I did that, actually, I took drives with commissioners as well, and with Lyman from the school district. And so what we did is we kind of identified lighting areas that, and I know that, again, there's the response we get is, you know, there's lights, but we need more, right? So all we're trying to do is identify the best places to put them as best we can. And we do know there's still some areas that require and need lighting, right? You know, and everybody has their own thoughts as to why we need lighting. I think from the school's position, one thing is, you know, bus routes and some of these kids walking to and from their homes with no lighting. And some of this that was a concern that I was aware of. The school district commissioner, of course, is lighting in their particular precincts. So with the cooperation of AEP, Hector and Joe, that we put together a list of lights, and we'll be able, Jimmy was going to explain that. And again, these are additions to the improvements that have already been made. So Jimmy, I don't want to steal your thunder. I'll let you speak to what we got.
You're good. Okay. Can you scroll up? I think okay. So the spreadsheet here basically represents the information that was provided to AEP Texas for the additional lights. And what's important here is the middle of the page where it says existing pole and existing transformer. Scroll down just a bit. No, back up. I'm sorry. Right there on the top where you'll see from, yes. So that's the first thing we need to look at. Is there an existing pole? And in most cases, yes, because y'all are usually identifying the poles that you would like an additional light on. Then we need to see if there's a transformer. That also covers, is there power to that pole? So that's what we're looking for with that. And then on the very far right, you see no. It says AEP work request and then CIAC. And then you see the column says no, it's a little shifted. So that no represents there's no CIAC, which means there's no upfront money needed to install the lights. So those are typically the requests that we address first. And so pretty much throughout this document, the answer is no, meaning power's there, pole's there, we can install the light. So these are completed. And if you scroll down the page, you'll see in the green section, there's one that says yes. And that one means that there's a payment needed for that. And I believe that payment has already been submitted and that project has been completed. So those, was it 5 lights, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, have been completed. And then as you continue down the list, you see that, we do have poles, we do have power, there's no upfront cost. So this sheet should be completed. We should have all of these lights already installed. If they're not installed, there is already an existing job for them to be installed. But from my conversation with the engineer and service department, this sheet should be completed. Okay. Do you have the additional? There you go. Okay. So on this page, this one, you see more no's in the transformer column. Yes, there are existing poles, but we don't have power. And some of these have been sent out to the field for additional verification to see if, one, we can just add an additional line from a nearby transformer to feed power to this particular pole, or 2, do we need to install a transformer and an additional line to get power to that pole to provide power for the light. Now, I know most of the ones on this sheet that say yes on both columns have been completed. And some of the ones, I don't have a number because they were actually out in the field going over some of these today. But some of the ones that have no have been completed. The others, they're in design and there may be a cost for that. And I apologize, I don't have a complete update on that. Again, they were out in the field today following up on this list. A little bit late for this meeting, but they were working on that. So we continue to work with y'all and take additional requests for lighting. And that's kind of what we go through. We verify if there's the pole and the power available so we can quickly install those lights. And then the ones that don't, we will draw up a job and we present that back to the city manager so that they can, pay the CIAC for the additional materials to be installed for those lights. Any questions?
Yeah, these lights have been great for our community. I mean, they've really lightened up. I was worried they might be too light. We might get some complaints, but it is, they're great. They have really made a big difference and they, reflect mostly down. So they're not shining into people's houses, but they're tremendous. So we're really excited.
Well, with that said, I really appreciate y'all's leadership and guidance. I mean, I've heard that several times on this meeting today, and it really it says a lot for your city whenever you can come together and agree to go forward with a project like this, and you're giving the citizens what they need. The safety and the security with the lighting. It looks like you're in business. Pearsall's ready for people to come and visit. I mean, it just shows all of that. And I really appreciate working with you on this project and continue to work on, additional lighting needs and anything else that the city may need from AEP.
Well, thank you, Jimmy. Council, do you have any questions? Appreciate it. Have a great evening.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Next up, item 6B, presentation regarding proposal amendments to a solid waste contract. We've got the folks from Republic Service, Mr. Bo and Chris. Welcome, glad to have you all.
All right, good evening, council, mayor. Tonight, our biggest goal right now is to start the discussion of the extension. As everybody knows, contract, it ends at the end of this year. There has been conversations between us and city staff already, but really love the direction of council and see if we're kind of hit a roadblock and see if there's something that you guys can help to move forward. So some of the things we're going to talk about today is our current service levels that we actually do right now with the current contract. Some of the requests from the city for the upcoming extension. The proposal that was actually sent with these requests back in February of 2025. We actually just received a counter proposal from the city about, I think in November is when you guys communicated it with at a luncheon, but also just got to our knowledge about last week. Some of the concerns that we have with this proposal and some recommendations that we have going forward, and then just lastly, why, you know, we want to stay with this community here in Pearsall. So yeah, some of the current service levels we have is 1 time a week residential pickup, 96 gallon cart plus 5 additional 35 gallon bags or bundles. Right now, we offer the residents the option to get an extra cart at $12.29. We provide 4 times a year curbside brush collection, 8 cubic yard limit, 2 times a year bulk, 4 cubic yard limit. Right now, we don't offer any type of free roll-off containers to the city in this contract. And then we obviously have the $5,000 annual contributions that we donate around Christmas for the toy drive. So when the first conversation started, which was about a year or so ago, 2 of the biggest requests that we got from the city was to completely remove the extra bags from the residential service, and really try to go strictly to the cart content only. Another big request was to also remove 1 time a year curbside collection bowl and move more to like a cleanup event where we stage roll-off containers so residents can take their brush and bowl to wherever these stage areas are to basically dispose. I think the biggest reason from what we talked about with Mr. Ray is really just an overall enhancement to the appearance of Pearsall and not just having all the clutter out on the curb for, you know, stray dogs or.
What y'all find sometimes, and I'm sure whenever we do these brush and bulk pickups, you'll find that bulk is left out for long periods of time. There's significant amounts of bulk. Do that twice a year. Same thing can be said about the brush. Brush we do 4 times a year. So at the time, this has been over a bit. My point is that at the time, we were looking at, okay, I think we do this to where still want to provide that service, right? But do you want to have both those items out twice a year? You want to do brush 4 times a year? And the other challenge was, and you know, quite frankly, some community members may not know about this, but in our contract it does allow for 5 bags, correct me if I'm wrong, of trash that you could put, and some people do it or on and around your container. Others may not notice that they can do it, but it can be done. To that end is when you do that, you're also exposing, you know, those whatever's in those bags to being torn or whatever, and creating more waste, more problems. Right now, they don't have, so right now, what you'll find, and yes, correct me if I'm wrong, but right now, what you'll find is they are still driving, Day Republic are still driving, and there's a guy in the back of a truck picking container lids. Right. Other communities, you have a container and it picks up the container because they don't have to worry about the additional bags and things of that sort. So again, that's part of what they do, and so that's been part of the discussion is, can we do provide some services that can equal to what we're doing now and not expose ourselves to having brush and bulk and these bags, where we're just creating more waste in our community, and you know what happens a lot of times is, and it's happened more than once. What we'll do is whenever there's and it happens at every cleanup, they come in and they clean up, and you know they do their part as far as picking up our brush and bulk, and then we still get calls after the cleanup, right? Again, there's different arguments, and I have Hector and his staff going and picking up the brush and bulk after all this is done because things are left out or whatever the case may be. You know, code enforcement is not here, but it's also a code enforcement issue. I mean, because again, some of this stuff, and part of what I don't want to spill all this time, but part of what we discuss is having the enforcement and the willingness to say, hey, we got to hold people accountable, the residents accountable for leaving whatever. I mean, if things are piled up for months at a time, brush and bulk. I mean, at some point, the neighbor, somebody's gonna say, hey, we got problems, and eventually call the city, or just learn to live with it. Honestly, I think that's been part of our issue. But again, that's the backdrop of some of the conversation and what I think it was even during the previous council when Juliana Hernandez was here as a council member. This has been the conversations have been going that far back. So, but I'll leave that.
I just like to state, it's been my desire from the very beginning that we don't do bulk pickup at all. I know it's a convenience to some people, but again, if we do that, I would really want code enforcement. You know, we've got a yard limit and some people put 20 yards out there. They only have to have 8. And it does, it stays forever. It doesn't make our city look very pretty. Some people get it out there 6 weeks in advance. So my preference is we don't do it at all, but anyway, that's a decision that council need to make, but we need to kind of work through that with Republic or whoever we use going forward, but need to think about that, but anyway, it's a concern as I see that, but.
Thank you, Mayor. Nick, I'm sure it was. With those requests, kind of with this, we actually put a proposal together that, like I stated before, was sent over to the city in February. And the way that our system works at Republic is we have something called a pro forma, which is where we put basically our budget, all the modeling, all the different numbers that come into basically building what we're able to provide. And this is what it came out with. And this is with the opportunity of not having to raise any type of rates when it comes to the residents, to commercial businesses or anything like that. So yeah, we were able to honor the 1 time a week residential trash, cart contents only. The benefit of going to cart contents only as well is we're able to give a discounted rate for those that do need the extra cart at $5.95 a month, which in each case, it's, you know, there might be a family of 4 or 5 that need that cart, but there could be, you know, an elderly family that does not need it. So we're not going to penalize everyone for that. We go down to the 2 time a year curbside brush and bulk at a 4 cubic yard limit. So instead of the 4, you would go down to just 2. But because of that, we would actually be allowed to offer 52 free roll-offs per year for these staging or cleanup events is what we call them, where we allow residents to go take their brush and bulk to these, wherever this location is, and we pick them up 52 times a year for free.
1 week.
Any additional hauls would be billed at a discounted rate at $845 past that 52 hauls. We still honor the 5,000 annual contributions like we always do. But with this, we're asking for an increase in 3 years of the contract term. We're already closer to the end. This is before we even got to this point. We figured if we're gonna make all these drastic modifications, we might as well go all the way through with it. Like I stated before, this is what Pearsall was sent back to us, I guess, after this was communicated with everyone here. You guys all asked for 1 time a week, our contents only, at a $5.25 for an extra residential card.
I might have made a typo with that, but that, I'm $5.95, 7 cents. 7 cents, sorry, that typo.
2 time a year curbside brush at 8 cubic yards, where we were just offering the 4.
That wasn't.
Yeah. We also allowed the 2 time a year bulk. And this, you guys would just ask for the 1 time a year curbside bulk for the 4 cubic yards. And instead of 52, you guys are asking for 80. And the discounted rate for the additional hauls would be $7.95 instead of the $8.45. The biggest kicker is the annual contributions, where we were able to offer 5,000, it'd be closer to 12,500. And then lastly, wrapping this up, the city is asking for an annual tire roundup. So yeah, as you can see, there's a pretty big gap in between of what exactly we want to come to an agreement and how we, you know, move forward through this, but wanted some guidance there. We do have some concerns with a lot of the process with this extension, and some of the modifications, and really it's just understanding where the city stands with this. The conversion of curbside brush and bulk to this staging cleanup of containers and roll-offs. I think our biggest question, and I think we've touched on this, is how are the residents that are not physically capable of accessing, maybe not having a truck, being elderly, disabled, how are these residents going to be able to utilize this service? And I don't have an answer for you. I know that Fred didn't really have an answer as well. Sorry, he has all the answers.
On that, council, again, we still are offering the 1 bulk. I don't think we disagree on that. We're offering brush at 1 bulk. So they would have an opportunity once a year to do that, twice a year. But I'm saying that the other piece, quite frankly, I think there needs to be some discussion at some point to you know, what nonprofits can have. I mean, is it with people that have these issues, elderly or whoever, can anybody go and help these folks? I don't think there's that conversation hasn't happened with any of the nonprofits or any groups for that matter, that if we run into situations like that, and if nothing else, that not that we want to do this, but can the city, you know, if we need to say, hey, we're willing to do this for elderly individuals, disabled people under certain conditions, right? If they can show proof that, you know, disability, ownership of a home, again, there would be some provisions. But those would be the two things that I would suggest to the council. If we reduce, the perception is reducing the amount of services, right? But at the other end, you also have, I'll say this, a huge expense for the transfer station. When you are paying for roll-offs to be empty and people go and pay for these roll-offs or for the expense to haul these things off. They're not cheap. Not cheap. So I think the biggest gap that we're running into as far as the contract is the amount of roll-off containers we're asking for and the amount that the other stuff to me, not that it's not significant, but that's to me is what I see. And then to their point, the other thing is, again, code enforcement and compliance. Can we get the community to do and change things? Because whenever they talk about picking up 4-yard, 8 yards of whatever, whether it's brush or bulk, they have, I'll say this, and I've said this to Republic, they have picked up more than 8 yards.
Yeah.
They have picked up more than, and so they've picked up, and to their credit, they've just done it. And so can we get limited people to pick, to say, hey, this is how much we're gonna pick up? And I think that's part of what I think you're gonna speak to. But again, those are just some of the.
Exactly, he's got a great point. I mean, looking just to touch on that briefly, but the brush bulk limit issues. So we already, like you stated, there's a lot of residents that kind of take advantage of that. And to be transparent, it's kind of our fault too, because we haven't really had to enforce or regulate that. I think we just had the mentality of, hey, we'll just pick up everything as long as everybody's happy. I think if we were to go from the 4 to the 2 times a year, we could see a drastic change in the amount of volume going up. And I think that's what we're hoping that does not happen, but we just need the understanding from the city and have the backing and also know that, hey, that we might have to, you know, put our foot down and enforce limitations on Russian bulk. Back to the roll-off containers real quick, I have another concern, or we have another concern. Is just the location and manning of these containers. I know that we talked about possibly at the city, but we also discussed the possibility of having them at different locations throughout the city, so they're more accessible to the public. I think our recommendation here is we need to have it, or we need to place them somewhere where they're enclosed. And when I say man, even sometimes the city employee needs to be present, just because the opportunity for illegal dumping is huge. And that could be somebody going dumping construction debris, tires, or anything that doesn't fall under the solid waste category. And a lot of times that when that does happen in other municipalities, that does go back to the city, and that could lead to future, you know, issues. So that's just something that we just probably need to fine tune. And then lastly, I know we discussed it a little bit, and that's kind of what this meeting is about, is to figure out what exactly is the most important. But if we were to go back and look at everything that was asked of us in the new extension by the city, this is totally doable. This is something that we definitely can offer. The problem is that, you know, this has to come from somewhere. And so we do not want, obviously the goal is not to push this back on the residents and the commercial businesses here. But this city being just as far from the landfill already is as it is, the margins are small. We try to work, you know, as best as we can, but that money has to come from somewhere. So they would see significant increases in rates, and you know, obviously that's not the goal here.
So do you have like a?
We know, but if we basically discussed it, I think it'd be closer to like $5 per home. We could be even more, but that's just, we have to put it in the basis.
Okay.
And then lastly, or some recommendations we have, some of the stuff that we actually agree upon, and I think that could help out a little bit, is the 1 time a week residential trash, park contents only. We're 100% backing on that. Like he said, actually, most of our municipalities now are actually automation, car contents only. And the reasoning is not only for cleanliness, but for us, it's a huge piece of safety. We've already had 3 fatalities involving helpers, the employees that are on the back of the trucks in the United States. And it's just a dangerous job. Going back to the bags that are on the side, a lot of times people dispose of things that they're not supposed to. So there's glass, there's metal. A lot of times they put needles in there. So we've had cases like that, so we try to avoid that as much as possible. And the automation side, where it's just the one truck with the arm, is pretty much the future of our industry. All the big players are just going to that. Like now, we're not even ordering the 2-man trucks at our facility. So we're trying to push most of our contracts that way. Another recommendation, and this avoids the roll-off containers. Obviously, that's still a possibility. This is just our recommendation. 2 times a year brush and bulk events where we just increase the limit size. So instead of maybe having the 4, we go down to 2, so the curb appeal only maybe looks bad for those 2 times a year. So I don't know what that looks like when it comes to limit size increase, but maybe it's significant enough that you guys don't need this extra roll-off containers and we can avoid that situation. And then lastly, I know the contributions are a big piece. Obviously, I don't know if we're gonna be able to honor that, but there are other ways of doing this, and one of those is adding franchise fees to the contract. And I don't know if you would like to explain how that works.
Yeah, man, Bowen did a good job. I was very impressed the first time I ever heard him speak. He looks good. He did a great job. He went to college. It's fantastic. I'm gonna circle back, from a long time back when he started this, that one part about the tire, there's grants for the tire grants. It's usually cost $34,000 to get a tire trailer brought out here. They hold up $2,000, 2,000 tires. It's just that. And
We were told by ACOG we couldn't apply for those grants, but now they've changed their mind, so but I don't know what's.
that's 2,000 tires a lot, but that's just something that's dangerous for us to go grab those for you. But anyhow, so that grants one great thing. The free roll-offs you're talking about, the 80 roll-offs, that's and a lot of them are at that station. I just go by there. They make I'm very familiar with. They're called trash compactors, 40-yard trash compactors. Have a 4-to-1 ratio. Maybe getting that trash compactor, because as you said, the hard thing of all. So if you're transporting a box that's compacted and a box that's loose, man, that's the right one. And so I think that might be.
We had one time, I believe, we've had it, we've never replaced that one, but then,
It needs some looking at. We'll take a look at it.
Maybe a lot of looking. Yeah, it's yeah.
That might be a big option in messing with that trash compactor a little bit. And I did see Bowen did say that the brush and bulk were combined together, but it was not. They're getting a lot of everything. And as far as when your monthly billing is around $150,000 a month. If we passed through a 4% franchise fee on top of that and remitted that back to the city, that would add $1 on your monthly cost to the citizens. And we would remit that back. That would come out to about $72,000 a year remitted back to the city. That's without that for any people. But that's an idea to bring some money in. Another thing is that's getting to be a real popular thing out there is commercial. There may be there is some commercial accounts they have a 3-yard dumpster out there that are loaded into an 8-yard dumpster and there's no cone. So we can, our trucks have the ability to drive up there and measure the metal to the top of the plastic if possible. And then it's looked at by 3 or 4 different people after the pictures are taken and sent to the city. And we can bill that extra amount to the city, should the city choose to bill that customer. And
part of what he's saying, part of what he's saying is there's commercial businesses out there that have smaller containers for their business because they don't want to pay more for a bigger container. So part of the issue, again, the other issue is, and I think I've gotten calls from some council members about people, some in the downtown area, saying, hey, their containers are over full and they've got all kinds of stuff everywhere. Some of these commercial businesses, and part of that is because, again, they don't want to pay the additional cost for a bigger container. Our position is that, it's part of business, right? So you have to have a bigger container because you make more trash, you have to pay more. I mean, the same thing applies for a residence. If you have to have 2 containers, because you produce more trash, but that's the way, it is, that's part of the business. But I'm saying that part of what we're asking, or what even part of our conversation, my conversation with them is for people that, commercial businesses that are doing that, what I'm saying is there needs to be some sort of regulation. The ordinance, we get with city attorney, wherever, to say, if you have this type of business, or have, come up with an ordinance that says you're gonna have to get a bigger container, basically, if you're basically putting more trash out there than what container hold. That's what, I don't wanna speak to for them.
And then it's in almost every single contract today, that overages, and like I said, the trucks are equipped with, the ability to take pictures and measure it automatically at night, doesn't matter what time of day it is. And they actually send a bill to the city because the customer's gonna get mad, I ain't paying that, I didn't have but one box in there, the lid was shut, this and that, but they'll have 5 pictures to look at, and there'll be 5 people look at it before you look at it.
At some point, but I guess what they're saying is we would have to be the bad guys of billing people, and all I'm saying is, again, there was ordinance that we can work with city attorney to say, we're gonna require you to have a big container, we keep getting these.
The right side of it.
These issues from.
And we could do a thing where it's called right sizing in the beginning, not, we don't want to beat up your customers, we don't want to do that. We'll be able to say, hey, man, this is the week in a row, you've had this much trash, this is the 4th week, can we get this thing right sized and work with them?
I don't have any problem being the bad guy. It's that they're taking advantage of us, so, and especially if you can document.
Oh, yeah.
Right, and so just want to touch on that. So the trucks are equipped with AI intelligence, AI. Have these cameras that actually log this stuff and start a report when they go and service these customers. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool, but basically this is something that we could definitely send over to the city and you guys can.
It's very unique sometimes because, you'll go down one street and somebody calls that you missed my can. Well, you're the only one missed on the whole street, and it's on video. We see it all. So it's usually, we're not mad at the body. We'll pick them all up if they're out there. We had a councilman in Selma one time, angry at us. That councilman was angry. You keep putting my dumpster in my driveway. Y'all dump it and y'all put it in my driveway. Well, our AI caught it. It was his neighbor, where he had to go get out of his car and move it every time. So finally, we got out of that because of AI. But yeah, and back again, certainly to go back to the overages on that part, if it is a penalty or trying to right side, and he doesn't want to do it. So we charge the extra yardage on it, but we also have to make that franchise even higher. It shouldn't higher, and give that back to the city for the trouble. All these things are things I want to help the city get their money, but in a fair and honest way.
Well, we look forward to working through this more. The only thing I would say is we do need to address the tires, because if we don't, then they're just gonna dump somewhere, so that's got to be addressed one.
I'm not real good at tires, that's a bad word at the landfill, they get mad at us about that. So I don't know the proper solution, except the $3,000 to $4,000. I called Southern Tire Mart to find out what they do with their tires. And they use this bait, I think it is. The tire.
Well, it's just, it's a conversation piece, because it needs to be addressed.
We can talk about it.
You can. That's what I'm saying, there's some money with the franchise fee that shouldn't choose that $1 per month, bring the city, that's a $72,000 they have in their hand a year.
We'll just wrap this up really quickly. Just finally, just kind of talking about why Republic and why we want to be involved continuously in this city. I'm sorry, here's actually some pictures of just our driver from Thursday stopping. Obviously, you can see not a great curb appeal, but it's kind of what it looks like right now. So back to that, yeah. So why Republic? We are gold members in the chamber here in Pearsall. We do want to get more involved with that. We're sponsors to the TML ammo organization, big sponsors there. I know this city utilizes it, but a lot of our municipalities that we manage also. We want to get more involved, but if Mr. Reyes would allow, but we were able to sponsor 2 teams from Republic that came and did the barbecue cook-off here and had a blast. I sent a lot of pictures. I don't know if I was able to send them to you, but I will. And obviously we donate to the Christmas toy drive. But honestly, I love working with the city. We love being part of this community. Our driver he's been the same driver since we've had this account. He doesn't want to go anywhere. We would love to figure out if there's a way that we can, come together and make this work. So now I just kind of want to open up any discussion questions from what we talked about. This is really where I would like to hear what you think that the residents might, think about some of the stuff we said today.
I don't think I have a question. What I have is my concern or the feel here is you don't have residents that have other means or resources to help them, assist them to go to and drop this off aside from what they're already not paying high pricing. People do live from paycheck to paycheck. The majority percentage of this is under poverty level there in the rural communities. We don't have the resources that other bigger cities or other communities might have to say, you know what, this is an alternative that you can do. Somebody will, a nonprofit organization will take care of it, will plan it for an elderly, whatever the case is. I think this is where I would recommend that you guys look at where exactly you're targeting in what rural communities you're targeting, because you're not going to get the best of the dollar from here because it's just some people just don't have it.
Right.
And especially like the elderly, disabled,
Right.
those people. And so what happens is they just throw it out because where else would they gonna do it then? I mean, there's no other means. So I think that's the biggest issue we're having here is if you're gonna increase rates, if you're gonna not add and take away, well then we're gonna be back to square one.
Right, and that's kind of why we're trying to avoid the opportunity to have to raise rates, but also back to what you said about just the biggest issue here is the utilization of these residents, if they're not capable, if they don't have an ability, that's kind of the biggest question, and I think that is the biggest concern for sure. And I mean, we're gonna put our heads together and figure that out. Hopefully this nonprofit situation could help out a lot, but you never know, so.
We currently for the residents that actually take out the little toters by themselves. To this day, we make sure that if they're handicapped or elderly, we will go to their door and get that can for them, bring it out and dump it and take it back. We will do that. We do it today. And to your concerning the contract itself, these are suggestions that we have. We don't have to change nothing.
Yeah, right.
That's all up to you guys.
Right. No, you don't have to change anything to the contract. I mean, truthfully, that's a consideration, is just leaving it as is and leaving the contract as is. And to that end is the contract has the contract expires in December. So the other part of the equation is if we want to solicit, we want to look for issue an RFP. They could be the Republic and others could be part of an RFP process. That could happen too. So what we need as far as staff is some direction from the council. We want to go ahead and proceed, maybe not at this meeting. We want to proceed with an RFP so we can prepare and issue the RFP probably March, April. Get responses back from interested groups, and then from their side, how we want to, who we want to award to. So that's the other alternative. But there doesn't have to be changes to the contract.
Right.
It could stay exactly the same. It is I always tease them a little bit, but I said there's a lot of money in trash. But it is a lucrative contract, in my opinion, but again, it's hard work, it's dangerous work. So
And we can look at the alternative, we can look at changes or whatever we can look at, but are we ready to offer the alternative? That's my concern. Are we as a city ready to offer what people will not have access to?
that is really a question. Again, I think
That was kind of a purpose of the whole meeting, was how do you guys feel towards some of those big modifications that are gonna be changed? Because
there are changes. I mean, to no doubt, there would be changes and people would have to get used to the change. And to the mayor's point, is like, you go one extreme or the other. Let's say one extreme, you do this, or you have no pickup at all. And that would be a stopping people. Like, you're not there's no more bulk pickup, there's no more pickup. That would be, again, the extreme, it would be the all alternatives. All we were trying to get at as far as the compromise or discussion, right, was, okay, we know we may lose services, right? But what are we getting in return? And that's the discussion, further discussion that I've had with the public is if we're gonna give up a services, whatever those may be. Then again, my position is, and my recommendation to the council is what do you get in return? Part of the data that I use, as far as analysis was actually data that was given to me by the public. But in saying that, that's really the question is, do we want to change anything? And if we don't want to change anything, we can leave the contract as it is. And then the question becomes, we want to issue an RFP to see, we want to look and see what else is out there. And then, you know, those are really the questions that and y'all's feeling is whether people want to see any of this change and whether we want to see the council.
And council, the thing on the bulk pickup is certainly we'd have to have an option. We could walk through that. And so, you know, to your point, Councilman, you know, to see what the saturation rate is of those who really couldn't. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot that try to take advantage of it, but we'd walk through that and I wouldn't leave them without some kind of option. So, anyway, well, council, do you have any other questions for Appellate? Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys coming down. They provided for that. And we will be in contact. Appreciate you guys. Okay, next up, we have our chief of police with our racial profile report. Chief. Thanks, man. Please go.
There is a lot of data on this report. I don't know if it's something all we go item by item, or is this something
Summarize to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a chance to look at it and we're not really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is summarizing. There was a total of 5,490 stops for the month. I'm sorry, for the year 2025. Of that 5,490, 74% of all stops resulted in warning. Just a little over 24% resulted in citation or arrest. Short of that, there really isn't anything stand out. There's a ton of data on here. If y'all have any questions that come to mind, we will answer.
It's a good report to have. I did look through it. It does, and you got your video, lots of stuff. It does show that we give a whole lot more warnings.
Yeah, almost so. Yeah, it's the first one.
Yeah, council, you have any questions for our chief? Okay, thank you, chief.
Good work.
Next up, I had asked, Red to put this on the agenda to talk about, folks. Things are going on that just don't look normal in the country, and you've probably seen in the news where protesters bust in and disrupt church services, city councils. So I have asked our city attorney and manager to work together to put an ordinance in place where we can give the law enforcement a little bit more teeth. Should that happen, you know, we recently saw some things in Dilley. Just agitators that have come in and try to do that. So we're gonna get a ordinance and bring that to the council next meeting to get your approval or commentary on just not allowing that kind of thing to happen in our community, be it a city council, school, church building, or anything of that effect. Additionally, in some neighboring towns, I've noticed some people starting to camp out in public places. And so likewise, I want an ordinance where, you know, we just have some teeth, but not enable that to start happening. You know, people just actually sleeping out in the middle of public places. So those are two things I would very much like to address and want you guys to have a chance to look at it. So.
Well, I mean, when that building got torn down over there by, you know, right across the track, there's that big old building, that big old, you know, space, and I had suggested I had to build a homeless shelter or, you know, rehab, because that's one of our biggest problems, but I got,
Well, all those are.
what's happened with that?
All those are wonderful ideas. I mean, they need a place, but they also need not to be able to just camp out right in the middle of everywhere. So
But
anyway, you'll get a chance.
Mayor, how are we gonna create an ordinance when we don't even have anything to offer to these homes? And why are we putting stuff on the agenda that I don't think even pertains to local government? Let the federal government deal with this. If we're talking about what's going on within our nation, whatever, that has nothing pertaining to the council. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna entertain that at all. Yeah.
And what we've done so.
Mayor. You guys will have a. Who said that? What, James?
James.
Well, guys, we're gonna bring it, you guys have a chance to, if that's not what you wanna do, but what it does is it allows our law enforcement not to let that happen. So that's what it is. Mayor Pro Tem, you had a comment?
Well, I think it's a very great idea to bring it to the council because it's, for one, I support the First Amendment. You should be able to protest, but protest peacefully, not like idiots. Secondly, we need to ensure that our law enforcement is well protected and that they're not being followed around in case situations like that occur, or that there's not some idiots trying to surround them where they can't be moved or they could fall to some sort of ambush because we don't give them enough room for them to take correct action. I have also reached out to our state senators and representatives that they need to put something in place as well where they don't get surrounded or they give them more authority to law enforcement, that they don't become victims of some sort of ambush because they're being surrounded by morons. So I think this is a great idea and we should bring it to the council.
So you guys will get a chance to debate that and look at it, and we'll get it out to you. The city attorney is working on that, so you have a chance to look at it. But again, to Mayor Pro Tem's point, it is in no way to prohibit people's First Amendment right. If you want to protest, there'll be a place, and you're able to do that peacefully.
But why is Pearsall Police Department involved in national issues?
It's
We
not.
have,
national.
it has nothing.
National issue.
We all.
We'll bring this back, we'll bring it back, we'll discuss it at this point, but to my point, PD does not, they're not even should be engaging in that. So we shouldn't see them in Dilley, we shouldn't see them attached to national issue. I'm sorry, this isn't good. We have bigger things to worry about here.
Understand, it's not.
I see it as they're saying it's national because you're absolutely right. I think they're preparing us something where it comes to Frio, Pearsall. That's what we.
If we're here,
protect it, not national.
someone comes in right now.
Right.
And they get in our face and they disrupt, it's not anything outside the city.
Well, why now? Why are we discussing this now?
Because it's
happening.
It's happening.
It has to be done.
So council, we can have this debate, you'll get a chance to look at it, and certainly it's y'all's decision, but I want you to. Look at it.
It happened at some White House anymore, and there was nothing was done.
Okay, all right, that'll be coming next month.
That would be nice next time.
All right, next up, we have a public hearing, so it is 7:13. This is officially an open public hearing in the matter of TJ Hernandez, owner of the property located at 820 East Medina, Pearsall, Texas, is requesting a land use variance special condition for the setback requirements of chapter 48 zoning ordinance in the city of Pearsall to allow a 32x12 new storage shed at the subject property legally described at such and such. This is an open hearing. Is there any comments? This is an open hearing. Is there any comments from the field? Hearing none, I'm gonna close the hearing at 7:14. We're gonna go back into open public hearing again at 7:14. In the matter of TJ Hernandez, owner of property located at 820 East Medina, Pearsall, Texas, is requesting a land use variance special condition from the setback requirements of chapter 48 zoning ordinance in the city of Pearsall to allow the relocation of an existing storage shed. The subject property is legally described as such and such in item 7E. This is an open public hearing. Is there any comments from the field? Anybody have anything they'd like to say? Any comment? You'll get a chance to call. All right. This is the individuals it's related to. Hearing none, I'm gonna go ahead and close the open hearing. It is 7:15. Okay, with that, we're going on to item 8. I need an approval on the January 13th, 2026 city council meeting minutes. We have a motion by Councilman Argarza, second by Councilwoman Agarza. Is there any questions? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. With that, Madam Secretary, please note that Councilwoman Garza arrived at 6:37.
Thank you.
PM. Okay, council, we have a couple of folks here that we would like to move up. I would ask that you would allow us to go in order, 9E, 9K, 9L, and 9M. Move those to the front. May I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Talamas, second by Councilwoman Garza. Is there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. With that, we're going to move to item. First item up is 9E. This is an action item. Discuss and consider authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the Pearsall Little League for the use of the city's Victor Trevino Sports Complex for Little League baseball and softball games during Little League season. This is an action item. We have a motion. Motion by Councilwoman Hagar. I have a second by Councilwoman Hernandez. Madam, Assistant City Manager, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. The purpose of this memorandum and presentation is to provide the council with a policy and administrative summary of the Pearsall Little League agreement. This summary and presentation particularly emphasizes Articles 3, 4, and 8 in the agreement. Well, we'll also provide you a brief overview of the entire agreement so that council can take into consideration. As you know, this is an annual agreement that's brought before council to enter an agreement with the Pearsall Little League for their annual season.
Council, do you have any questions?
Is this the same agreement that we've been doing, or is this updated?
It is the same agreement, but I do want to, the purpose is I'm going to emphasize some of the terms that are in this agreement that probably have not been brought to your attention in the past that we want to focus on, and also for the benefit of the Pearsall Little League, so they can also be aware of what these terms are.
I have a question. When we enter the agreement, they start, okay, on the weekends, I know they have it on Saturdays, but on Sundays, are we still able to rent out the fields to people that want to rent it out for tournaments? So the city does not lose revenue.
That is, that has to, and that we're gonna cover that in this overview. The way it's written right now is that it is up to the city, and the Little League Pearsall also has to be in agreement to allow that, because again, you're entering an agreement with the Little League where they have.
She studied the way it's written.
Yeah, this is just, yeah, so if, that's what I'm gonna cover, Councilwoman Garza. So again, the purpose is to authorize the Pearsall Little League to use the Victor Trevino Sports Complex for youth baseball and softball. The key emphasis of this agreement is Article 3, which is the league coordination and the scheduling. Article 4 is going to cover the fees, the costs, recovery, and the operational responsibilities. This is really key here. And then finally, Article 8 is going to be the city's protections, exceptions to the performance of this agreement. Next slide, please. So under Article 3 of this agreement, the Little League representative works directly with the Parks and Recreation. We did have a meeting with the Little League board, and we asked them, as part of the agreement, is that they need to designate a spokesperson or someone that will act on their behalf. And in this case, it was Stephen Rendon was assigned that responsibility or that role. And then also under Article 3, you're going to see advance notice of schedules required. We need to have that schedule from them. And when I spoke to Mr. Rendon, they were working on that, and we were hoping to have that for you tonight. And then under Article 4, the financial and operational terms, the city agrees to waive the field use fees. The league will reimburse the lighting costs, except when they have their all-star games. In your agreement, you'll see what those, fees are. I didn't go into details, but I can certainly answer any questions you may have on that. Also, they're going to be, and this is crucial, they are responsible for the field preparation, cleanup, security, and concession. In the past, staff has been doing this. Our concern here is that, one employee, overrun costs for overtime, and also employee morale, because they do this during late hours to be able to prepare the fields for the next day. So you have employees working really late hours into the nighttime of 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. So that is concerning. In this agreement has been always that the Little League is responsible for prepping their own fields. Who better to know what their needs are and how to set this up? Also, under Article, Article 8, discussing city protections. City, we will not, if there's bad weather or emergencies, we will not have those fields available. And we had that situation back during the 4th of July event where the fields were just too wet. It would not be safe for any playing time. Also, no scheduling conflicts with All Stars without an agreement. And city not liable for any of their property. So what that no scheduling conflicts is, there is a section in here that discusses that the agreement calls for if someone is requesting the use of the field during the season that the Little League has it, we leave it up to them and of course ultimately the city to decide whether or not to allow for that Sunday. Again, that will require, I will tell you, we have nothing in place right now, no policies other than the reservation forms, which I was currently working on revising. We will have a reservation form online where they will pay, and their deposits and everything will be done there. The terms will be on it, but right now we don't have anything really in place like we do with the Little League for those that do private tournaments for financial gain. So I strongly encourage council or my predecessor to look into drafting something for you all. I know in the past, council has had some concerns about the cost to the city and to what our employees, the work that's being put out there for these private tournaments. We are doing these fields, we are preparing these fields for them. I have talked to some of the I guess those that are putting these private tournaments, and they are in agreement to do their own fields. In the past, and Mr. Reyes can probably give you some input on this. The past was that we're very proud of our fields, and we should be. We have a really Mr. Orvetta has done a great job in maintaining those during his tenure here. And we just were very proprietary about keeping those fields, and only we can maintain them. But again, we have to look at what it costs in the city to do this. And as you can see, we did bring back to you some fee increases that they were going to be seeing now that will hopefully offset some of these costs that the city is incurring, including personnel over time. That's in a nutshell, this is what I wanted to point out to you all. One was that they should be responsible for maintaining and preparing their own fields. The practice fields, we will go in there right before season and we will get them all ready, like we've done. The fields are ready, all the fields, including the practice fields. But after that, it is their responsibility to also maintain the practice field. I know in the past, there was some concerns about why is somebody out there mowing or dragging the practice fields. And that's because that is what is in the agreement. That after we've done the work and got them ready, they will continue to maintain the entire season.
That has not always happened, but Mr. Moran's point, that is in the agreement, written in the agreement. So if there needs, if you're looking for, council's looking for some changes or recommendations, I know that the Little League group is here, here, I wanna hear from them as to, what's that?
I do have a comment, Mr. Ron, I agree with you about the private, I don't agree on. Who should, stay and make it on Sundays, because we always give out enough, we need revenue coming in, I do agree, like, the private people that are coming in and holding tournaments. That maybe they can give something back to us, because they do make profit, and maybe we can give it to a scholarship or to some, to like just, I'm gonna use the chamber, I'm looking at money right now. How they give back and we give to scholarship, I do agree on that, but I don't agree that they should be able to make the decision if we let the fields out on Sundays or not, because the city does need to make revenue.
Yeah, just also us waiting the field, waiting the, the cost for the fields. I mean, we had already had people come to us and we're turning everyone, we had already agreed as a council not to waive fees. So I don't wanna, I mean, I know this isn't their agreement, but this is an agreement that's gonna be looked at and revised, right? So, I don't wanna be like, oh yeah, we're waiving fees for the Little League, but if, Playbusters comes and asks us to waive some fees or something, or, anyone else comes and asks us and we're like, no, we can't waive fees. They're gonna be like, oh, well, y'all did it for Little League, why aren't y'all doing it for us? It always goes back to that. And it's never.
And this is the time to recommend any revisions to this agreement, because this is the one that has just been renewed annually without us really taking a deep dive as to what the contents of this agreement are. And to the benefit of a Little League, maybe in the past, they put under a different impression as to who was doing what. And that was the purpose of me specifically pointing out those articles, so that those I think are of interest to this council that you may want to renegotiate.
They were paying though. I think I read on the agreement though that it said something about them paying something and then something about the lights. Did I read it wrong?
$1,000.
But that's all.
Oh, it's kind of, never mind, read wrong.
Yeah.
It says, that Pearsall Little League, under this paragraph, may voluntarily,
Right.
when possible, make an annual donation of $1,000 to the city.
Okay, yeah, I read something about a donate, about money.
And then, the pages are not numbered, but, under section Article 8. When you start Article 8, you go to the second page before you get to Article 9. There's some language here that it is further understood and agreed that the city of Pearsall may conduct its own or allow softball and baseball league tournaments with the usage of the concession stand on Sundays. However, the city of Pearsall shall not schedule games during the Pearsall Little League All-Star tournaments hosted by Little League unless agreed upon by both the city of Pearsall and Pearsall Little League. So it basically leaves it to the city of Pearsall to whether to allow for those other tournaments.
That's
on
understandable,
Sundays.
because we don't know what days the All-Star will begin, that's very
Exactly.
understandable.
So I'm curious to hear from them. This profit that is being made by the Little League, can you break it down? What is that? Where does it go?
Honestly, we do not make much profit, and we do make money comes from concession stand, and that's how we usually pay the umps. And fees that we have to pay. And registration, we do not turn kids down. So what we get, and if they don't finish paying, a lot of the parents don't finish paying the registration, they don't get most of it either.
So basically, take a
So
loss.
technically, yeah, so technically we kind of lose after that. But y'all need to understand, this is a seasonal thing and it's over 400 kids in the city of Pearsall. Pearsall Little League, so. That being said, and then the fields of us doing the fields of. I don't know,
For builds, someone's always done it for us, we buy the shop just so they can do it. As for equipment, we don't have any of that, that's why one of the city guys goes.
doesn't.
But as for the chalk, we do take it out of our pockets and we do buy it, so we don't have to worry about that,
What about the sponsors that Little League
The sponsors, we do get them, but it goes towards the uniforms. So when that's it, we even get enough sponsorships. So. I think we break even, I guess. I don't make profit.
I was gonna have one of our parks employees here, but he fell ill the last couple of days, so he's not here to answer some of these questions. I know there has been concern that's brought to my attention that we do provide, I mean, yes, they do provide the chalk, but there's a lot of other additional supplies and equipment that we're also paying for and providing.
And we do provide toilet paper, towels, we have to do all that too for the restrooms.
And we've been doing that, we get calls from even the private leagues, they'll call us when they run out. Or that the restrooms need attention in this agreement. I didn't point that out, but it's very clearly stated here that that is their responsibility. To continue to, as if they run out of those supplies, that they have to replace them. And also keep those restrooms clean. In the past, they're calling our on-call person to come in. And we've been supplying them with the paper toiletries in addition to cleaning the restrooms.
Part of what, just to kind of speak a little bit to this, I believe they have about 400 kids, 400 to 500 kids that are part of this, and so the part of it, I mean, what the council may have to wrestle with, right, is the fact that some of these kids don't have the means, right, but they want to play. And so part of it to that end does require some help from the city, right, because on the other end, one of the things that I would ask the council to consider, and as you guys are talking about is making sure that with the nonprofits, I'm gonna call you guys a nonprofit, right? That they're using their funds in accordance to what they're supposed to do as a group. So by that means, you kind of hold the dollars tight and spend on what needs to be spent. Now, in saying that, that's y'all's oversight. I believe it also requires that they provide financials. And so part of that review is looking at and saying, okay, you received X amount of dollars from whatever, whether it's donations, selling, whatever, can you account for that? And then you guys determine as a council, if y'all believe that they've been a good fiduciary, that they're using the dollars the way they're supposed to, and it's worthy of having this agreement. I mean, that's really the consideration is part of it as well. They don't have the dollars for some of the things that they're talking about. Could they have the dollars for equipment? Maybe not. I don't know. But again, part of that is looking at financial decisions that have been made and then, determining for it on your own and asking the questions, okay, does this make sense for us to do? But it is a good thing to do, no doubt. No doubt is this.
Can I make one comment? We do, last 2 years I've been on the board, or have to be 3. We do hire individual, a kid, a young guy who was in school, a young kid, and he would clean the fields, pick up trash, throw the trash. He did all that stuff. He actually got paid to do that. So he would clean the fields, pick up all the trash through the trash from the trash can, the restrooms. He did throw the leaves away and everything. He did a lot of that. So no city boy was out there at night doing it. It was him.
We basically do the cleanup after all the games.
Yeah.
It's just mainly the fields is what we ask because they don't have the equipment.
Yeah. And the manpower.
And we go and just buy the chalk. And some of the chalk was still in the storage as of the city, and they were using it for the tournaments that other people would go and borrow the fields for. So it wasn't really for us.
Part of the business relationship, for instance, they have a building that's there. Part of the business relationship, to their point, is okay, this is your material, this is your equipment, it needs to be stored X place, right? Wherever that is, whether that's that building, anybody else, if we provide buildings to any other nonprofit, to your point, it's okay, why are we doing this, right? Why are we providing facilities that are city facilities, or at least on city property, right? So to that end is if there's an issue of material, chalk, whatever it may be, that needs to be separate. Inventory, like even through concession. The concession stand belongs to the city. You can use a concession, but you don't store it. It's not as a means for storage, right? That is not the intent, is not inventory of whatever you're selling, right? That, and if we haven't had those discussions, I know. But in saying that, those are discussions that we've had to deal with. and issues that we see as a staff, that I know that the council may or may not be aware of, that we have to at some point say, hey, we need to work on, so we have talked to them about their storage facility. We have talked to them, I've had concerns about our concession stand and the inventory, because again, the concession stand, it is for them to use, but it is also for others to use too.
We don't have to look with that.
And the idea that you have some carrying a group's inventory. I mean, I would feel uncomfortable. I mean, if you know, and so anyway, there's just things like that that want to make sure the council's aware of.
And that is, what was Serena just brought up, that is also in this agreement about how they are not to store, their foods and supplies in the concession stand, especially if we have others who are using them. And that's just, we don't want to commingle each other's, we definitely don't want to be, if that's what we're doing, we'll certainly should be looking at that, not mingling the city's, what we purchase with what they provide us. We need to keep that inventory separate, as Mr. Ray stated, so we'll definitely be more diligent about making sure it's, you know, that we're following what this agreement is. I mean, that is the purpose of why we have agreements, and both parties should do more due diligence to, we both do our parts in following through with these terms.
Not only that, it's going on, and they break in, they take their stuff, we're not responsible for it, so we didn't tell them to leave it there.
And that is also in the agreement that we're not liable.
I'd like to say something. I don't know of another youth organization in Pearsall that has over 400 students to keep them busy, to keep them off the street, to keep them engaged, to help parents out with it, whatever it is. This is something that I did when I was little, coming from a single parent. I'm just saying this has gone, it's been positive. These all-star kids go represent all of us that are part of Pearsall. They are our future. So whatever fine tuning we have to do, whether it's their closet, their pay, their whatever, we need to fix it. But I don't agree with us saying, oh no, you know, anything negative towards our youth, I'm gonna say no. They've done everything. We have a new board. They're switching it around. They're gonna do everything by the book. If Mr. Reyes just makes a meeting, I guarantee you they're gonna show up and they're gonna polish everything out. But for us to sit here and be like, oh, well, what about this? What about, the kids are hearing this. So this is our future. This is our future leaders. We need to support them in any way we can.
And I agree.
Because that's a lot of kids, and they're taking up a lot of these kids not paying. And I know we talk about yards, you know, or grounds crew and all that. The school district has to do that. We have games that go on hours. What do? We call our people. So I understand that, but we need to fix it, because then why do we have a conflict? It's just sitting there. It's for Little League.
Right.
That's what it's for.
And in no means, Councilwoman Montes, are we here to come up here and say we're not here to
I just want to
support
make sure
them in
that
the
we're
league.
clear on that.
You are absolutely correct. We want to serve you. We have to give them avenues for sports activities and keep them off the street. We totally agree with that. The purpose, as stated earlier, is just to bring to you all what's in here and give you all the opportunity to see if you want to leave it as is, or if you want to make some revisions based on what you've heard here tonight. But at no point are we advocating that we not have a Little League. They serve a great
Whatever
purpose.
season
In
that
addition to
we
these
have.
private tournaments as well, we just need to have structure.
I agree.
Basically just structure.
But also, we can't, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, but at the same token, Play Busters is for the youth, isn't it? And if we say, no, we're not gonna waive fees for this, why are we, and I understand, I come from, my dad was a coach for 20-something years, okay, he was a Little League coach, we coached up in Dallas, we were Little League, we were Pee-wee football, drill team, all that stuff, so I do understand all of that, okay? But at the same token, we cannot say no to one child and say, oh, okay, well, let's waive it for the other. That's my point. I just want to be fair across the board, only because I don't want this child to suffer because we couldn't do it, and this child to be like, oh, well, we got it. You know.
I never said waive, I just want it to be clear and transparent that we negotiate and work with them. I'm not saying.
Can I make a comment? Okay, I know the fees, we don't mind paying fees, because I know I've been done that before, but like, if you walk into the complex, the big field has a, what do you call it, dugout, big cemented dugout, there's graffiti on it. And it's ugly. You got a youth going on there in March. Probably marketing soon, that's been there since last year. So, we don't mind paying the fee, but are you you're gonna do a game?
I'll speak-
I'll speak
I'll speak to that. Part of what I would say this, and again, there is no doubt there need to be improvements. I will speak to this, and I've asked plenty of times. So where are the volunteers? We've talked about, we've given people, organizations, opportunities to make money, to be a part of events, and we've had kids that have come, unfortunately, more so than the adults, to say, hey, there's an opportunity to raise money, we're in. We've had groups that, and I know the council is aware of, and my point to that is, okay, there's opportunities to raise dollars, meaning there's dollars that you can go and volunteer to do X, whatever that may be. And I appreciate these ladies for volunteering. My point is that when it comes to the actual work, doing the work, it's, well, call so-and-so, because I can't come, or whatever the case may be, and that's part of the whole issue is the lack of volunteerism that, well, it's really, it's the city's responsibility, whoever's responsibility it may be, right? So to that end, the frustrating part from my standpoint is that, you know, you're trying to work with this and saying, okay, they're volunteering their time just to work with the kids, I get it. But on that front, the same thing is, okay, and these kids or organizations provide help with X and even make money from an event, Hispanic Heritage as an example. Could you make money? Could you make money from any other events that you could say, hey, we're here to help with cleanup, whatever it is. And so again, part of that is not for me to ultimately my decision to make, but if it's a community effort, then it needs to be a community effort, right? To include volunteers.
To include entities. Entities. So with that being said, the only concern the only thing that I heard, or am I correct, is that the Little League will call the city staff to go and conduct certain duties, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
They're
is
captured
that-
to what's in here.
And use of equipment that belongs to the city. Okay, is there anything in the agreement that states that in the event that that's broken during, because they're conducting and working for them, that they would be liable, responsible for that?
What we can do is, because there may be some challenges here, give us a chance to make some revisions
Okay.
to the agreement. And we'll get with them with the Little League group and to see what revisions they feel,
And Fred, it is for the kids, but I guess the thing is that we're gonna have to use our city workers, we're gonna be paying out our city workers, so I mean. I understand where everybody's coming from, I really do, but I mean, yeah, it is servicing a lot of kids. How many months out of the year, how many months do you use it?
no doubt.
It's gonna start March, April, May.
It's in July.
It is.
Like,
It is,
Yes, I get what you're saying, it's gonna add up with the city workers, so give me, honestly, if they're gonna have to pay us, we're gonna have to put somebody out there.
and it's really.
So it's gonna be, I mean, if you balance it out,
But quite frankly, it's a matter, I mean, we talked about the dollars and the little, I mean, we're talking $1,000 here, okay, no doubt. It's the work, the volunteerism, that's what the driver is, and it's not, again, it's not, we can talk about the small, I say small things, I know it's big for folks.
It's $1,000, but this is your kids from Pearsall, your community
Agreed.
that belongs to the city of Pearsall.
Right, which I agree, well, I agree 100%, I agree 100%, and again, I'm agreeing with this, I'm saying that this is your contribution, the city of Pearsall's contribution, allowing the use of those fields for almost nothing. For kids, no doubt. But again, my point to that end, my counterpoint to that, and we can go all day.
Parents pay taxes.
And to that end is again, we're doing this, but those taxes only go so far, okay? And to that end is, the part of it is how much your, the volunteers are there, but they're not there, and there's only so much staff. We have a staff of 4 people at the park, that's what we have.
And they
I mean,
each
that's
take
what we-
turns every weekend, I know this for a fact.
That's something we pay.
Here's what we're gonna do.
We don't pay,
You're gonna.
we don't like paying the
Okay, hold on just a minute.
but like I said, the graffiti's on the back, like.
Okay, I think we've
we just need to.
gone with this conversation, as far as when you do. Council, would you like to table this and make some adjustments? What's your pleasure? We've got a motion in a second. As it is to accept the agreement, or do we need to go back and make some more adjustments?
My recommendation is that we sit at the table with, we've met with the three of the board members. And there's some additional board members that I feel like this is going to be something that they've been open to negotiating with us. And we can certainly sit down at the table with them again, now having presented this and heard from the council. And let's see how we can work this out and bring something that's mutually agreed upon by the parties.
Brought back on time before they
started.
started.
Yes, we're still waiting on their schedule.
The field is gonna be, they're ready to go. It's not, again, we're not gonna prohibit them from.
Yeah, starting without an agreement.
That's not.
And just to clarify something, members, just to clarify something. And this is why I'm gonna emphasize that it's important that you bring your people to this meeting. Especially when we have been talking, like we presented to school districts and everybody on that development of that sports complex. That's why it's critical that we hear your feedback for organizations from you, especially from yours, because we know what we're looking at, what we want for future development and for the future of these kids. But when we don't get engaged into everything, then that's where we don't know where, okay, well, what are we looking at here? Because what are we missing here? So that we can all work together. Because I'm telling you, we are getting ready to move on phase 1 of this sports complex. That's gonna develop it a little bit better, and we have more to go. But it is your input that's critical to these projects. And I am 100% with you guys. So let's take this back, work whatever agreements, make sure that it's abide by the agreement that's in place. That you're right, that legally that's why agreements are in place. Make sure that both entities are abiding by it and take it from there.
With all due respect, Councilman, I believe that the whole organization was the only organization that was showing up to all those roundtables.
Sure, there was, they did show up for one, and there's been a good discussion on that, but part of that, again, I think we have the meetings we've had, doesn't matter, but to that end, I know they showed up.
They showed up, yes.
All right, council, I'm gonna request that you guys make a motion and table this, and probably everyone that's you guys are still gonna be able to move forward. And we'll be able to bring it back next time, we'll fine tune this, bring your people and together we'll make that work. So, council, I had a motion, I believe, by Councilwoman A. Garza and a second by Councilwoman Sonia Hernandez. So if you'll so move to table this until the next meeting, you okay with that? Okay, we're gonna change that motion to the table. If there are any questions? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Going on to the second one. Okay, we have going to item 9K. There are 2 items here. Discuss and consider resolution number 20260205 for a land use area special conditions for a new accessory structure in the matter of TJ Hernandez, owner of the property located at 8 It's requiring a land use variance special condition for a setback requirements. Chapter 48 zoning ordinance of the city of Pearsall to allow for a 30 feet by 12 new storage shed. Located at the property structure as such. This is an action item. I'm gonna request a motion in a second. Motion by who was that?
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Legarza, second by Councilwoman Talamontes. Madam Assistant City Manager, you have the floor.
Yes, Mayor and council members, you have before you actually 2 agenda items that appear to be very similar. The reason that we have separated those into 2 agenda items, even though it involves the same property, is because they're going to be separate, distinct actions. You will have to take action on one to relocate a new storage shed. And the other one is to relocate the existing storage shed into a separate area. And therefore, that's why you see the two agenda items separated, because they are requiring 2 distinct actions on them. With that being said, let me just present the report. Again, you have an agenda for a new storage shed. The property owner, Miss Trina Hernandez, is requesting a rear setback. If Crystal, we can do the site plan issue.
So there was
just
a
have the
permit pulled for
resolutions
this,
in there.
Hold on,
Yes, I'm sorry, ma'am.
there wasn't a permit pulled for this, it was just put there.
Exactly, while we were, and just in a nutshell, just to summarize it. Staff sat with, the property owner. And explained to them that they did not meet the setback to bring in, one, they were gonna require a relocation permit to move. We require relocation whenever you're going to move something in or out. So we discussed that that was gonna be required, we discussed that, that we were going, they did not meet the setbacks for the new storage shed, it is a good size. And then we discussed that they would have to request a variance. And they did complete an application, however, while we were processing the application and publicizing the legal notice in the paper, which cost the city money, because the city is not collecting the fees for the publication, so it is not a pass-through on that. Secondly, while all of this was happening and we were scheduling it for P and Z and to city council, they moved the new storage shed to the site that they don't meet the setbacks, and they also relocated the old storage shed too close to the house. We have an ordinance that requires that storage sheds be 10 feet away from the main dwelling. Because for fire hazard concerns, should anything in that storage shed catch fire and it's right next to the home, we have some concerns there, and that is the intent and purpose of that specific ordinance. This is the site. I will tell you, that you will have to tonight, because this is part of what goes on the record, you will have to, what we call findings of fact. You have to determine if any of these 5 things pertain and what your action will be on there. The planning and zoning met on Monday. And they are, because of the fact that this was done and they were aware that they could not move this until the process was completed and decisions were made with the final authority coming to the council, they moved the building. You will have to find that, one, that there are certain conditions that distinguish it from other projects that exist. In this case, they are short, the lot width that we require is 80 feet wide and 115 deep. Their lot width is 67, so they don't meet the lot size. The lot depth is 115 feet. They do have the 115 feet. However, the width is wide. We're asking for the variance. They don't meet the rear setback. And the side setbacks. And then also you have to find whether or not the fact that this was moved, is this something that was self-imposed by the property owner by having put that there without actually being granted the authority to do that through a variance? Was this based solely on the actions of the property owners? And finally, you will have to also determine whether you want to allow them to keep that and grant them the setback variance, while also maintaining compliance with our city ordinance. And is this detrimental? The fourth one, is it detrimental to other properties adjacent to them? Would this create an impact by having them too close to the property lines? And then our rulings, are they consistent with the intent of what chapter 48 of our zoning ordinance requires, which is those setbacks being met, and then the P&Z recommended not to deny it, and in conclusion, staff is recommending that they don't meet the required legal standards, and that we deny this variance request.
So even if they move or like I know we discussed this before, so even if they can move it, there's nowhere to move it to get it to meet the standards.
They can't, you can grant those variances that they're asking for, but they will have to.
They're still gonna have to move
They'll
the
have to,
garbage.
yeah,
So what is the thing with zoning?
our zoning ordinance,
They denied it.
P and Z denied it based on the fact that they went ahead and moved it without, it going through P and Z recommendation and then final, complete approval. And the fact,
So it's there now.
it's there now.
So if I'm
Both
not
of them
mistaken,
were
we had other people move it though, cause didn't they just move one from over here, that we had to move that out?
Yes, ma'am.
And they were denied also?
Yes, we made, well, what we made them do is that they needed to comply on, in that situation, you had. An even bigger structure that they placed a foundation on. That was, those foundations need to be engineered reports on them. So there were some different facts on that one, but that one also, we made them comply with
I
everything.
was talking about one over here, but on
sorry.
this, so if we grant the variance. So just per se, we grant the variance, they're gonna have to move it either way.
If they're not meeting those setbacks now, we would have to go back and send our code enforcement officer to make sure that the variances that they're requesting here is where they set those two buildings. Cause we have a new one that they're asking for, the,
Is
The
it by a
rear
fence,
set-
this one on, by any chance, because I know that we have always said that it can't be right by a fence, is it by a fence, by any chance, but I can't tell anything.
so I guess I didn't attach these.
Okay,
Your question?
sorry, you should get
Would you like to?
Yes,
make a
please.
comment?
Yes, please. I mean,
Please come forward and identify yourself.
Hi, City Councilman, Mayor, my name is Chase Nally. I just want to acknowledge the fact, yes, we did move the shed. We moved the old shed that was on the property to another space due to an animal control issue we've been having. I know I was here at the last meeting last year, about animal control, the dogs, cats, everything. We've been having, so we got the dog issue. I know the chief had said that they pick up dogs, pigs, but I come to find out that the city doesn't pick up cats. I know cats are a really big issue in the, yet, even if I was told today by the new animal control lady, if I was to catch a cat and call the city, they're not gonna come pick it up. I have a picture of I know the cold front and everything, I have a picture of a deceased cat that we found after we had moved the old shed over, and I know my dog was kind of going over there. So in a sense, I'm glad we moved it, because we were able to figure out why there's cats in the back of our prop, like, I don't know if they come from the apartments, or maybe the abandoned house across the street from us, or maybe the abandoned house on the other corner, but we just hear a lot of, like, just cats and ruckusing, so we moved that shed. We found the deceased cat, I have a picture of it, we had a dog issue. I personally fenced the property, got the right permits, I fenced the property in, the dog issue was settled. We did have two dogs in our yard, which the animal control caught perfectly fine. Now the issue is cats. You guys don't know, we don't live here 100% of the year. We live here for 4 or 5 months. So when we get home, we shouldn't have to deal with cat feces on my daughter's bike, cats crawling on my cars that we have to leave there. So that's primarily why we decided to get the 12 by 32 foot shed. We're not looking to have anybody live in it. We're not looking to add anything crazy to it. We're just not. It's strictly just for this sanitation of our property, the well-being of our living. Nobody should have to deal with that. The fact that the city doesn't pick up cats is crazy. They're everywhere. The stray animals are everywhere. So I do apologize for making the moves on it, but it was affecting my living. And like I said, we don't live here all year round. We're only here until March, the middle of March. I go back to Connecticut, I go back and work. I don't believe I should have sat here and waited for the approval when it's my living, it's my property. My daughter, we just got a new dog, 5-month puppy. We shouldn't have to feel like, oh, we can't let the dog out. We gotta leash the dog because there's cats on our property. That's why I'm taking the steps to do what I need to do. I have the new building is back set further than the old one was, just because the animal control guy had an issue catching animals back there. So I ended up moving it back, it's not on the fence line. None of the sheds are on the fence line, and I don't know, you guys said the structures aren't allowed to be on fence lines, are they?
It's a liability, it's a liability.
So there's a house for sale right down the road, the greenhouse, I could pull it up on Zillow. It is the same size property as we have, and it's a brown, it's across from Jesse's,
They just put it though, because it was already there, it's grandfathered in.
I don't know, but it's on the fence line, it's on the fence.
There's a lot of them, but they're grandfathered, and I asked the same question.
So my question, so we had 2 sheds in that area where I put the new shed. I got rid of the metal shed because cats and stray animals were coming to it. I'm looking to remodel, or not remodel, but I'm looking to redo the other shed that I kept on the property, and that's for like lawnmower, stuff that can get dirty and stuff like that. But the new shed is strictly for when we're not here, let's put it.
For your vehicles.
Store our vehicles, store our, you know what I mean, but I don't know how they're saying, cause I've driven around, I'm not from here, so I've driven around and I've seen properties where they're abandoned, there's 4 sheds on a property, it's like, I ordered a brand new building, I didn't bring something that was crap to the city, I didn't, I wasn't throwing it in my driveway, maybe, like I said, I didn't know that we were like 86 feet, if we were to come into compliance, we'd have a garage in the middle of our lawn, like, it's not fair to us. So I'm just asking that you guys take another look at what we did and what I'm trying to do and kind of.
And Jay, this is the process where we do that. I'm kind of struggling why a building has something to do with whether there's cats or not. But anyway, the bottom line is the protocol needs to be followed as far as making sure because if we didn't have any kind of protocol, then people would just put stuff everywhere, endangering themselves and various other things. So that's why I'm doing this. And so it's important that it is followed for those reasons. And again, you can look all over the city and maybe find examples of X, Y, or Z. You don't know if they have a special variance or not, but then nonetheless, as we've been, tasked the assistant city manager with making sure that our permit process is followed. So that's what this is about. So the bottom line is council, you've heard the request from the assistant city manager, what to do going forward. Now, there's still an opportunity to, get back with the assistant city manager and try to find some rectification for the situation and nobody here intensely wants to put anybody through any additional labor. But the important point is that you follow the protocol at the beginning so you don't get to this.
Of course, I just in many times, I know you dealt with the situation too. I was told when my first time moving here, when we wanted to put a mobile home here, this is before the ordinance had come upon. We were told by the city, her name was, I forget who the last permitting person was. But we were told that we needed a foundation around our mobile home, which it would have been the first one in Pearsall. We needed engineering plans, and we've just kind of been getting the runaround from the town. And like I said, we have a cat issue in our yard. I don't know if it comes from the abandoned house behind us or the abandoned house in front of us, or maybe the apartments where there's a bunch of crap. Yeah, I know we talked about the garbage is getting left out by a resident. I don't know where the cats are coming from, but somehow they're ending up in my property, and I have a deceased cat that I have some pictures of it. I'm glad I got to it before my dog got to it, or maybe my dog. You know what I mean? It's just not fair that
I'm happy to talk. You got my number. You're welcome to call me about the animal control issue. We're happy to talk about.
But when I call animal control, hey, I got 2 cats in my yard, what do I do? Hey, so I can't. It's like they're climbing on my dog's stuff. It's like,
I understand. So you're welcome to vet that with me at any time. But the issue at hand here is what council, what do we do moving forward?
They have permits for it, and they have the.
yeah, we want to apply for the permits. We applied for the 2 permits for it. I just had to move.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that there was 2. So that I don't know if it's grandfathered in, since there was 2 sheds already on the property, like that distance from the fence. It was close. It was like probably 2 foot from each side of the fence, and that was 2 sheds that I had, equaling the space of the new shed. So I got rid of the old shed, the two old sheds from that space and put I went and put it, but I put the distance a little bit further, that way the new animal control person can come and put cages back there and they're able to access back there. I know we have a new animal control person, but the last guy,
We had a dog in our
we
yard.
had a dog in our yard and he couldn't get it.
Hiding behind the shed.
He just couldn't get it, so, and I even told the new animal control person, hey, this is what I did. You guys can feel free to put sheds in my, or put cages in my backyard, I'm all to help, I'm here to help, I want my property to be clean, that's it, my property is 50% turf, I wanna finish the rest of it out. So everything's good, but this is just where I'm at now, and I'm just looking to get the approval and go forward.
Council. To the city manager, you want to state what needs to happen.
So council can deny variance. And as done in other cases, have them remove it. Or you can grant them the rear setback from their fence line, which is they placed it, they're asking for 6 foot variance, we required 30. The side setback, they from the side of the property line, we require 15. He's asking for a 6 foot variance, and then on the old existing storage shed, they're asking for 4 feet where we require 15. You can have them continue to go through completing the permitting process, have staff go out there and determine that they are going to be, if you grant these setbacks, that's exactly where they are, we would have to measure. And if they're not, they're going to be responsible for having to move those sheds to make sure that they comply with these variances if you choose to grant.
If I can answer that, the setbacks don't seem to be, I mean, setbacks we approve level 4, but the real issue seems to be the proximity to the house.
Yes.
Is that probably the major issue?
Concerns about how close it is to.
So if we grant these setbacks, are you willing to comply?
We're 10 feet from the house, we're already 10 feet from the house, but our neighbor's house is on our fence line. That's. Our house is in compliance, but the neighbor's isn't, the neighbor's house is right off of it.
So that's where. That's not their fault, that they're on the property.
They still have to comply. If the neighbor's house is too close, that's more of a civil issue where, you know, they're not meeting their.
Just have to take it out, I mean, brand new building and stuff is, you know, I mean, I would. For him to have to remove it, I mean, if he could just.
You see, this is where it becomes a problem for us whenever people don't follow the ordinances and the rules and stuff. Then it's like, oh man, you know, like you said, your neighbor's house is too close to the.
Yeah.
It creates a problem. Now
It's
we're
not
like,
fair.
well,
It's not fair for the next person, I feel like, because. I just don't feel like it's fair for the next person. We should, if one person sets a standard, everybody should go by. I shouldn't go around town and see. This shed is next to it, there's 4 sheds on this property and 2 people are living in this shed and 2 people live in it, that's not fair. I'm sitting there just trying to clean up.
Okay, all right, okay. Okay, guys.
and that's the problem we're having now, is that we're just doing it and not complying with.
What the council, what we may want to consider is the intent, right? I mean, what the intent is something that you have to consider and all this, and again, that's maybe subjective, right? To some people, like, oh, my intent is to do this, but this happened as a consequence of it. But the intent, from what I gathered, I'm listening to them, is they want to clean their property up, they have a decent storage there. The hope is that it doesn't cause a problem for the neighbors, but kind of they got a cat problem.
All of our neighbors have come to us and said, we love it, perfect, they're with it, nobody's been against us, none of my neighbors. They said it looks good, like it.
Okay, Jay.
Bottom line is.
We've had,
the variance.
all right, well, guys, let's ask to be addressed, but we
A lot of money to approve the variance rather than him have to move it out and not have one at all. We approve that variance. You're gonna have to move it either way, but we approve the variance and you just follow through. And I know what you're saying about the fence line, but I don't know what the variance is like. I don't know what you're saying, but if you move it rather than us denying it, and you're gonna have to move it out, period.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, because if we don't approve the variance, you're gonna have to move it out.
You applied for it, when it's the gathering, that's correct, you applied for it, you're saying you're gonna do it a certain distance, the question becomes, is that shed that you applied for, is it within that distance? So if you said.
Oh, yeah, the
within
permit,
6 feet.
yeah, what we said we were gonna do, I did. Like the feet, the structure, everything, it was done, and I wasn't going around like. Once we got the permit and it was approved, I was gonna go to the city and pay for it, the money's not, it's not a problem, like, I'll give you guys the. I think there was 2 permits I had to pay for, the permit, actual permit I have to pay for, and like the people moving it into town. He didn't really know about that, but I have no problem paying for the permits, I wasn't looking to. Go around, like, I wasn't looking to just go around the situation, I was really just trying to. Handle responsibly the situation I had at hand.
Who did the motion then?
Who made the motion?
The motion was made by
Agars.
Councilman Agars and seconded by Councilman Pellant's. So that's the motion, so
Yeah, I was gonna put it, okay, we'll make some motion.
I'm gonna make the motion to approve the variance.
say that again.
Approve the variance.
That's how it stands on the super release.
Second. Can we add, consistent or with that it is that staff goes out there to confirm that it is actually set where where you're approving these variances, that they actually did put those on this variance.
Can the person like let me know when they're gonna come and I can absolutely come outside and kind of, cause they kind of just they've never. Through the permits and processes of stuff we've done and putting down concrete and putting down the houses, the permit person has never come out. But since I guess now that I put the shed there, they came out because the shed there. If I never moved the shed, the permit person never would have came. And we would just been like, okay.
Okay, so. Council. Go ahead,
We have a motion.
okay, go ahead and remake that motion, so city secretary.
Make a motion to approve the variance with, the.
Staff confirming the place.
And contacting Mr.
Now,
Yes, County, whenever they're coming in.
thank you.
Okay, there's a motion on the table,
Second.
presented, do we have a second?
Second,
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Councilwoman Talamantes, because she made a second, are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, originally.
Thank you,
okay.
I appreciate
If
that.
that's the case, is there any questions?
No.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Is there any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, moving on to item 9L. It's separate aside from.
That is this one.
Yes.
they both went together, right?
Approve both. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Madam Secretary, did you get that?
Yes.
Items 9K and 9L were you joined together.
Correct.
Particularly emotional. Okay. All right, we've got item 9N, discuss and consider the city of Pearsall facade improvement matching grant application 213 South Oak Street. This is an action item. I'll ask for a motion in a second.
motion.
Motion by Councilor, a second by Councilor Hernandez. Just what we got before.
Well, no, this is good news. This should be good news. It is.
I think that were great.
Oh, City Hall.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. You have before you is a rendering provided by Mr. Lugia. We do have the property owner here. This is what he's intending on doing. On the next page over, so sorry. We do have a partially paid invoice. That Mr. Zubia has paid. The original amount was a total of $12,498.25. He did go ahead and do a partial payment on that just so that he can get the material ordered, so that way he can go ahead and move forward. I asked this everybody here tonight just in case anybody had any questions regarding the intention of the property. And so, but can you go back up? As you can tell, it is going to be, for the rendering, it is going to be a major improvement. downtown. This is our main street, this is our focal point. A lot of people that have come in have said, what's going on with downtown? He's helping revitalize it. Having that bit. Did you want to say anything, Mr. Cunningham?
I'll answer any questions.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, what are you planning on doing with it?
So I guess my expectations is my next partner. So good evening, I guess my intentions are find that partner, to find that partner that basically wants to utilize it. I guess my goal is to, you know what, bring beautification and hopefully that draws in the right crowd.
Yay,
So yes.
we're excited.
So
Okay, well, council, do you have any other questions?
I
Thank
tell
you.
for all of you that you would be getting all the calls from City Hall since he's been taking off. So I think that's to be considered that as far as future status, something City Hall can sign.
All right, Crystal, do you have anything else?
And just want to preface, the matching grant is 50% reimbursement. So what you're gonna see pretty much is what we're gonna reimburse them for the facade.
Okay, with that, is there any other questions? Council, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. All right, we'll go back to item 9A, discuss and consider resolution number 20260204, authorizing engagement with WFX as a consultant to support local and regional collaboration regarding water and wastewater infrastructure and future water needs. This is an action item. So a motion, second. Motion by Councilwoman Garza, second by Councilwoman A Garza, city manager. You have the floor.
Mayor, Council, in your packet, you have a resolution. This group, WFX, I'm not gonna speak a lot about them, but they're a nonprofit group that was basically involved in water and wastewater. In communities, particularly small rural communities, with the water needs. And so this group, in conjunction with, I believe, with Carrizo Springs, about a year or so back, invited Don McLaughlin and others to speak to the communities to include the city of Pearsall about our future water needs. And so part of what they're trying to do, and what we're trying to do as a group, and even different cities, is trying to, get a little more cohesive and work towards regional water needs. We have our water needs here in Pearsall, but in the near future, we're gonna have to start focusing on how we're gonna meet water demands as a region. So part of what they're working on is trying to get us to collaborate with different communities, and particularly in South Texas, to figure out what the solution is. Now, we may not worry about it, maybe even our kids, our grandkids, maybe so again, Viviana's Viviana's part of WFX. She can speak to whatever questions you may have, but it is an ongoing discussion. The Texas Water Development Board and other organizations also encourage us to work regionally. So it's just something on that. That's basically what the resolution entails. And they would be working with the city of Pearsall and others to try to come up with some regional efforts for water and wastewater needs. Y'all have, Viviana, are you on the call? I think she's on.
She's out there.
Yes, hi. Hi, good
Hello.
evening.
Want to speak a little bit to this, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So, hi all, my name is Viviana. I'm part of the Texas team at Water Finance Exchange. Again, just to add on to the regionalization support, we work with a lot of communities that are small and rural, and sometimes they don't have the resources that we need to have long-term sustainability for water supply. And so what we're trying to address here is trying to get communities that are nearby to work together to try to think about, again, long-term success for all of the communities in a way that's also affordable, just because there's, complex systems of getting financing and complex systems of following compliance. And so by being able to assess what are the positives, or what are the benefits of each community, what do they bring to the table, and how can we use all those tools together to come together and make sure that the most people have the most impact. So the resolution is really just more of like a agreement to share that responsibility to try to work towards a better future with water, and make sure that the community is able to, again, just kind of share that commitment to bring water to community, to make sure that we can expand on protecting public health, supporting economic development, and long-term affordability. So let me know if y'all have any questions. I'm happy to support with anything that y'all may have questions over.
Council, the city manager came that they also help us try to locate some grants, other things available, so.
We're currently working on an application, if with the Water Development Board. And Viviana, we engaged them, with some help with that, and that would, we're looking for some grant, loan forgiveness, whatever you want to call it, but if we are working with them on another application.
That's correct.
Council, have any other questions? With that, I'm gonna call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Item 9B, discuss and consider the award of the events coordinator services for the Hispanic Heritage Festival and authorize the city manager to negotiate and enter an agreement with the selected vendor. This is an action item.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Argo, second by Councilwoman A. Garza, city manager. Comment?
Council, we went out for this, we went out for request proposals on this. Put it in the paper, we did the whole thing as far as advertising. We got back one proposal, which was.
Wow. But everybody complains that they don't have.
Yes, so there was a plenty of opportunity to put it in. I did speak to him and I told him that there still needs to be negotiations, in my opinion, on this proposal. And to that, part of that, again, what we discussed, the council discussed is trying to figure out, revenues that are coming in for the event. And how we want to, either share or work with the other nonprofits with those revenues. We also talked about, y'all remember, we also talked about sponsorships. I don't want to speak for Juanita, but I believe she's been in discussions with Mr. Motormouth on how that can happen for this event and with the others, but this one for sure. So again, if y'all allow me to try to negotiate with him, but I think I understood for the council was that we're going to have more, whatever, I don't know.
My only thing, only request, since I've come, since I've gotten on council, is a carnival.
We say it all the time.
All the time.
Yep.
I understand. Maybe Juanita might be able to find us a carnival.
Divine has he mentioned something about it's hard during this time of see they go up north, but Divine just had one in October.
I agree, I'm all for.
Yeah, I agree. Well, we need to knock in now.
I think on that, and just so y'all are aware, and I think the agreement, I want to say it'd be for another 3 years, but it is something that, if you want to change anything or anything that you want to add, please let me know now.
Yeah.
So if we talk to them, it's $75,000 budget this year, that's what it's like.
The space and maybe also like, I know we're saying the carnival, but the space, maybe like they did it this year where like that, when they spaced it out and did something every week, maybe we can have that and put it over there, like y'all can work together. Just a suggestion.
Why can't we have it downtown, shut the town down?
Like Floresville.
Yeah, on Main Street. Let's do it on Main Street because you can't use my fields no more. I'm waiting for it.
We don't text out right away. I know that, again, the little that I know that there's been, pros and cons with the downtown. I mean, for us, from that end, it's really now the event coordinator determines that, right? So the idea is to keep it at the complex. That's really the event coordinator. We would just say, hey, this is what we agreed to. I don't know that there's been anybody that's been, aside from the carnival, I don't think there's been a lot of people complain about it being at the complex. I could be wrong. But in saying that, I think that's been part of what we've discussed with them. But I think there has been, again, from the biggest concern, or maybe the questions come up is, the financial part of revenues and expense, not necessarily expenses, we know what expenses are. From the revenue side, there's still some things that the council may want to consider as far as, how much is the event actually making with all, how much, and seeing if there's some revenue sharing that could be had with other groups, nonprofits and others that may be able to benefit from. But that's it.
All right, council, we've got to establish a relationship, we know what this guy can do, again, we're gonna allow the city manager to negotiate some of these terms. We've got a motion in a second, is there any other questions?
No.
Hearing none, I'll call for a vote, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Council items numbers 9C and 9D, I think they work consecutively, so I'm gonna ask that we'll consider them together. Discuss and consider conveying 50,000 from hotel motel tax to the chief for the 4th of July and 25,000 from the hotel motel tax for the smoking barbecue cook-off. This is an action item for motion by Councilwoman Hernandez, second by Councilwoman R. Garza. Brett, is there any discussion needed? Pretty cut and dry.
We'll just be asking for a budget, and y'all will get a copy of the budget, Ms. Bonita, we talked earlier this week, and she understands, is that?
All right, any other questions? I've got a motion and a second. I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. City Secretary for item 9C and 9D.
Yes, sir.
Likewise, council items 9F, 9G, 9H, and 9I are simply requests to submit for a grant. These are for Safe Neighborhood Grant Program, Officer Mental Health Program, Active Attack Response Assistant Grants, and Justice Assistance. So, great.
Second.
First was from, I'm gonna do, again, you're all four together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Councilwoman, Sonia Hernandez gives a motion. The second was Councilwoman R. Garza. Is there any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, no questions, all for a vote, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Did you get that, Madam Secretary?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Going on to item 9J. Discuss and consider the addition of Rivera Towing to the Police Department rotation. This is an action item. I'll ask for a motion by Councilman
Second.
Garza, second by Councilman A. Garza. Chief, you have the floor.
Review, we didn't use this, we're real sorry.
Very briefly. Company local to the area, Rivera's towing. They're interested in joining our rotation. They were previously in Dilley, and to join our rotation, they need to be within 2 miles of the city of Pearson. So they actually allocated a yard here in Pearson, just to be part of it. So
Okay, so let's vote. Let's vote.
Got a
So
motion
you
and a
vote
second?
out, right? Okay.
Okay, motion is second. Any other questions? Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed?
No.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I apologize. I'm not gonna read up to the front. All right, item 9, discuss, consider the appointment of a board member to the comprehensive zone
Motion.
focus group.
Second.
All right. let me read it.
Motion.
Motion, Councilwoman R. Garza, we have a second. Councilwoman Sonia Hernandez. Councilwoman, Councilman, Assistant City Manager, you have the floor.
We just need board members, and
How many?
You have, we
oh,
don't,
that's the last council meeting.
we brought this before, at the last council meeting. And you, the council was tasked with bringing in some names or volunteering. I believe we had one volunteer from the council.
We're gonna have to table it and bring it back. I forgot. I completely forgot.
We've got the, right now, we got the plan, the guys helping us, the consultant. We just need to, we needed to meet this meeting, we needed to meet this group. Is the next board meeting, don't we know,
Can we just call and tell her, like,
We have one from the first, which is Miss Judge Belding. We do have, from planning and zoning, this agenda item was also, Mr. Webbs has volunteered, and then, both Mr. Lisak and Mr. Grease will serve as alternates in case one or the other can't make
so then we're
it.
good, so then we should be good.
Two people is not.
Oh, okay, so can we just call you?
We
and
asked
let you know?
council to give us names for this meeting, and so again,
I can
part
fix it.
of what we're trying to do, we want to include as many segments of the community as possible, because again, as we mentioned, this is gonna be far reaching, so again, the implications are
So we give you names, you guys will call them?
preferably, yeah, and again, assuming, so what happens is normally you would ask them, so they'll know that
They're gonna start.
because we've gotten names before where, oh, we was able to recommend it.
How many do we have?
It's up to the council, you don't wanna have.
Okay, hold on, one at a time. How many do we need, Yolanda?
We don't have a
Give us a
minimum
number.
maximum.
Five.
Mayor,
Yes.
can I make a suggestion? Can we come back to this when we come back from executive session so we can make phone calls in between? He doesn't know our phone, so. Well, when we come back, before we come back in here.
Just. Okay,
Mayor, I have
somebody
calling.
why don't we just, this is something that we can call, find out this, we we don't need to have approval unless the council needs to approve those people.
Can they, after they approve this without giving the meeting first?
Not in the zoning focus room.
You could, because they're just a recommending committee. What's the question?
Well, the question is, can we find out who wants to serve? Call Yolanda and let them be on the board as the council need to approve those who are appointed.
If a motion.
How many times?
Okay, hold on.
If a motion is adopted, that states that.
Okay, council, please restate the motion to allow council members to call in with recommendations to Mr. Ron to serve on this board.
Can it be
Okay,
the
the
council?
motion was made by our guards,
They're
second
gonna make
by
a final decision.
I will restate my thing that we will be able to
Yeah.
call somebody and call the city
Okay.
back with our
Very good.
needs.
Councilman Hernandez, do you concur?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay with that. We'll take care of this. Everybody call in, the first 5. All right, very good.
Okay.
Any questions?
No.
Hearing none, call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. It is now 8:30. We're going into executive session. Please leave your phones here. We'll be right back.
Or
Somebody has positive.
Are they coming up? They're coming up full speed, but they're not even. I doubt they're gonna come all the way, because I'm like the last guy.
Set up right. Yeah. Not getting down, they're bent. We were at the ranch.
Oh, shit.
Not the way you look. You know what? Very fortunate.
RVs and all that.
See how it's going. It looked like we was wearing wave.
Yeah.
I gave over years of
They're even.
Thank
So this is our solution. I send out all of this in favor. Whatever price you give.
Sonia.
And I'm going to go pay.
Councilwoman Sonia.
It's like your best on the
I didn't get to see her tonight.
Okay, that's.
FTCP. Hey, good old. Oh, 99 here, 89 cents there. I mean, these guys, you will get. And you give it off.
I need to log in and do.
I read also good.
Yeah, look, I don't have any, I have to do part of it.
No, do that, for whatever reason, they decided that's you not to. The board asked for it, it's still, it does not serve as one thing.
No way.
Yeah, they're not going to have it on.
All right, everybody, we are back from an executive session and no action happened there. It is now 9:10. For that, council, we have item 11A, discuss and consider transferring a portion of 15-acre tract of city-owned property legally described as such and such to the Pearsall IDC. Council, what is your pleasure?
No action.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilwoman R. Garza and a second by Councilwoman A. Garza to take no action on this item. Do I have any other questions? Okay, I'll go for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. Council, we have item 11B, discuss and consider the transfer of 54-acre tract legally described as such and such and 15-acre tract so described to the PFC. Council, what is your pleasure?
No action.
I have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman R. Garza for no action. We have a second. Second by Councilwoman A. Garza. Do you have any questions, council?
No.
Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposed, motion passes unanimously. With that, council, review of the bills paid. Do you have any questions on item 12A?
Nope, that's not.
No questions? All right, all good. All right, item 13, general announcements. Council. Valentine's Day, Saturday, important announcement. City Attorney? Yeah, announcements, anything specific?
Good to see you.
Brett, okay, with that,
Motion to adjourn.
that's the most coveted motion of all. Motion to adjourn by Councilwoman Garza, second by
Second.
Councilman Hagar. Are there any questions? Hearing none, call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes unanimously. Thank you.